opportunity to welcome the President of the Swiss Confederation, Her Excellency Doris Leuthard, to Ghana and to the seat of her presidency. This visit is the second to be made to Ghana by a sitting President of the Swiss Confederation in 10 years. And Madam, we're honored by your presence. A few minutes ago, the ministerial teams of our two countries held discussions at deepening our bilateral relations, as well as exploring other areas of cooperation between Ghana and Switzerland for the mutual benefit of our two peoples. The discussions in the areas of foreign affairs, UN reforms, finance, security, and agriculture were held in an atmosphere of cordiality and were fruitful. I would like to highlight a few of the agreements reached. The two countries underlined and reinforced our commitments to international peace and security. In dealing with the ever-present threat of terrorism, we stressed the importance of deepening cooperation in helping to end the scourge of terrorism and the threats to peace and sustainable development in Africa and the world. We have agreed to work closely within the United Nations Human Rights Council, the body responsible for the protection and promotion of human rights around the world, as well as with other UN agencies. Extension of mutual support for the candidatures of the two countries vying for positions on the UN Security Council and other UN bodies has also been agreed upon. I took the opportunity also to highlight the importance that Ghana and the African Union attaches to the long overdue process of UN reform, especially of the Security Council, to correct the long-standing injustice that the current structure and composition of the UN Security Council represent for the nations of Africa. We have also sought the agreement of Switzerland to support the lead role of the AU in its attempts to resolve the crises in Libya, Mali, and other states of the Sahel, which are receiving the full brunt of the terrorism menace. The two sides acknowledge that the issue of migration and mobility has gripped the attention of the world in recent years and now goes beyond the individual policies of states. We have seen and continue to see the high numbers of young Africans taking harrowing risks across the Sahara and around the Mediterranean, trying to reach a better life. What this means is that if we provide them the right environment in Africa, which enables them to enhance their skills, receive appropriate training, have access to digital technology, and enhanced economic opportunities, their energies can be channeled towards making our continent great. Nonetheless, whilst the necessary measures are being put in place, Ghana and Switzerland, as concerned and responsible members of the international community, have decided to cooperate further in ensuring legal and safer means of migration. Her Excellency Doris Leuthard, since coming into office, has reiterated on numerous occasions her commitment to freeing up space for the growth of business. On my part, my government has introduced measures to stimulate the private sector, a monetary policy that is stabilizing the currency and reducing significantly the cost of borrowing, in addition to a raft of tax cuts, has been put in place to bring relief and encourage businesses. These interventions are lowering the cost of doing business and shifting the focus of our economy from taxation to production. We aim also to improve further the business atmosphere and make Ghana an easier place to conduct business through paperless transactions at our ports and the removal of all internal customs barriers by the beginning of September. To this end, we discussed the need to explore further business opportunities for the two countries, as well as boost the volumes of trade. We acknowledge, happily, the improvement in the trade figures over the last couple of years, and that trade must go beyond the two commodities of gold and cocoa, which over several decades have constituted the backbone of our trading relations. In the area of agriculture, particularly cocoa, the two countries will sign a memorandum of understanding in the course of this visit to enable both parties undertake jointly projects to boost cocoa production in Ghana, as well as add value to our cocoa. Ghana, under my presidency, will no longer become mere producers and exporters of cocoa beans, and will continue the policy of processing more and more of our cocoa here in the country. There is no future for Ghana and the teeming masses of Ghanaian youth with an economy that is structured around the production and export of raw materials. Her Excellency and her delegation agree with this and have pledged the support of the Swiss Confederation to this end. The two sides also discussed and agreed on the importance of the Human Rights Appeal Caucus, a body to which Ghana has been officially invited to join. Ghana, in our discussions, will examine the possibility of becoming a member. We took the opportunity also to solicit Swiss support for the candidature of Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, a distinguished Ghanaian jurist, for election to the International Criminal Court during the elections which will be held in the 16th session of the Assembly of State Parties to the ICC in December this year. In the areas of finance, we discussed Ghana's position as one of the Swiss Confederation State Secretariat for Economic Affairs priority areas for economic development. The new Swiss cooperation strategy for Ghana will be launched shortly, which will involve an amount of 80 million United States dollars to support the enhanced competitiveness of Ghanaian enterprises and the diversification of our economy. It is highly appreciated. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we hope that as we shape the future of Ghana and position Ghanaian enterprises to compete effectively in the global marketplace, we have friends such as the Swiss Corporation to support us in this objective. There are many amongst us who cannot accept that it is only Asians who can engineer their transition from poverty to prosperity in a generation. We are determined to do that in our generation in Ghana and ensure that succeeding generations will be neither victims nor pawns of the international economic order. Indeed, the project still remains a Ghana beyond aid. Thank you. May God bless you.
6 years ago, you reached your independence, and since then, Switzerland again is a long-standing, reliable partner and will continue to do so. With today's program of economic cooperation, we again will support the people from Ghana, and the program was constructed together with the experts of the government, so I think it will also be close to the agenda of the president and to the needs of the population of Ghana. I think the strategy expresses also our strong commitment of moving towards a partnership beyond aid. A partnership where aid does not substitute private investments but catalyzes them. Switzerland's cooperation has the aim of contributing to inclusive and sustainable economic growth and to the fight against poverty, fights against corruption, and an inclusive, comprehensive economy. So I'm very pleased that today we have already 40 Swiss companies present here in Ghana, offering many people a decent job. I could this morning visit a company which dries the wonderful Ghana fruits, and that's jobs for more than 1,000 people. And I think we recognize this could be multiplied. This is the biggest plant for dry fruits in Africa. And when they would have more mangoes and more pineapple, they could enlarge the business. So I think that's a good example how we can work together. And I think Ghana really has long been recognized as one of Africa's success story and it is a success story. And when Switzerland can contribute to the further success of Ghana, we're doing it with a friend which also recognizes values like democracy, peace, human rights, and the rules of law. And I think that's the values which make a society, an economy, a country strong. Therefore, we know also that Ghana plays an important role in the region. You know, in Europe, we are worried about migration from a lot of young people from the African continent. We see also that desert, dry regions increase due to climate change. Also, Ghana is affected by that. Also, in Switzerland, our glaciers melt as well. So we have also here common interest to tackle climate change and to give people hope who live in areas where they have not excellent conditions to have their a decent life.
May I respectfully ask Almighty God to bless President Doris Leuthard and the peoples of Ghana and Switzerland. Let me then ask you all to be upstanding and raise your glasses to toast to the welfare and health of the President of the Swiss Confederation, Her Excellency Doris Leuthard.